Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something very different from what I've done before. I want to review two songs, both of which I love, and actually talk about the history behind the songs and, well, at least the first song, and then my suppositions and knowledge when it comes to the second one. You'll understand more. So let's go ahead and get started.
Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived.
Okay, so first off, obviously this song is about King Henry VIII's 6 wives. It's not necessarily about him, but I did want us to have information on him before we get into his wives and his children. So he was born June 28th, 1491, and he died January 28th, 1547, at the age of 56, which I think is a pretty good age, all things considered, during that time period. And then he reigned from April 22nd, 1509 to his death date, which is a total of 38 years. And so some things are going to become very obvious when we get into more of the history of these women that he married, but you'll see what I mean.
And tonight, we are... Listen up, let me tell you a story. A story that you think you've heard before. We know our names and our fame and our faces. Know all about the glories and the disgraces. I'm done, 'cause all this time I've just one word in a stupid rhyme. So I picked up a pen and a microphone. History's about to get overthrown. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. But just for you tonight, we're divorced, beheaded, live.
So again, over the years that Henry lived, he married, beheaded, and divorced these women. Just so we're clear.
The show to the history mix, switching up the flow as we add the prefix. Everybody knows that we used to be 6 wives. Raising up the roof till we hit the ceiling. Get ready for the truth that we'll be revealing. Everybody knows that we used to be 6 wives. But now we're ex-wives.
I love that about them saying that they are ex-wives.
All you ever hear and read about is our ex and the way it ended. But a pair doesn't beat a royal flush. You're gonna find out how we got unfriended. Tonight we're gonna do ourselves justice, 'cause we're taking you to court. Every true to rose has its thorns, and you're gonna hear 'em live in consort. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. But just for you tonight, we're divorced, beheaded, died. The show to the history mix, switching up the flow as we add the prefix. Everybody knows that we
about that.
Used to tonight, we're divorced, they're headed back. We're going to the show, to the history mix, switching up the flow as we add the prefix. Everybody knows that we used to be six wives. Cousin to the beat till the break of day. Once we're done, we'll start again like it's the Renaissance.
So I love the reference to Tudor Rose and the Renaissance, because obviously this was during the Tudor dynasty, if you didn't know that, and obviously it took place during the Renaissance.
Everybody knows that we used to be six wives, but now we're ex-wives. My name's Catherine of Aragon, was married 24 years. I'm a paragon of royalty. My loyalty is to the Vatican, so if you try to dump me, you won't try that again.
So first, obviously, we have Catherine of Aragon, who was born December 16th, 1485, and died on my birthday, January 7th, but obviously I wasn't born in 1536. That would be a little bit weird. So that would make her about 50. She was married to Henry from 1509 to 1533. 24 years, as she says in the show. Now, she wasn't alone, obviously. She had children. And until I was doing research for this video, I did not realize that I knew that there was a lot of, I had heard that there were some stillbirths, but I did not know, about what I'm about to show you. Okay, so first we have this little cutie who was Henry, Duke of Cornwall. That was his name. He was born January 1st, 1511, so it didn't take them too long to have a son. Sadly, though, he only lived a month, a little over a month, because he died February 22nd, 1511. There's also a stillborn girl that they did not name, and I did not put her on here for that reason. And obviously her most famous child is Mary the First, born February 18th, 1516, and died November 17th, 1558. She was around 42, which is pretty young. Not too much younger than her father, and she reigned from January 1556 to November 1558. So she was only queen for about 2 years before she died. So yeah.
Berlin girl, and I'm up next. See, I broke England from the church. Yeah, I'm that sexy. Why did I lose my head? Well, my sleeves may be green, but my lipstick's red.
Okay, so then, obviously, one of our most famous of his wives was Anne Boleyn, and they could not nail down her birth year, so it was either 1501 or 1507, and there's not a date, a date attached to that, but we do know that she died May 19th, 1537, so she was between 29 and 35, and obviously we know, because she says in the show, that she was beheaded. Before she could be beheaded, she had a child, Elizabeth I, who was born September the 7th, 1533, and lived until March 24th, 1603. So she was 69 when she passed away, which is amazing. She reigned from November 17th, 1558 to her death in 1603, which is 45 years. One of the longest reigning monarchs of England, as far as I know. So yeah.
Jane Seymour, the only one he truly loved. Rude. When my son was newly born, I died, but I'm not what I seem, or am I? Stick around and you'll suddenly see more.
Okay, then we have Jane Seymour, who was born 1508 and died October 24th, 1537. So she was 29. And they were only married for a year. Maybe a little bit less, because there's not dates with this that I didn't look that hard. I was just looking at the dates, the years. So she was married from 1536 to 1537. And obviously, we know that she had a son. And if this rhyme is to be believed, he's the only son. We know that's not true. However, Edward the Fourth here was born October 12th, 1537. So, yeah, a little bit before she passed away. And he died July the 6th, 1553, at the tender age of 15. But before he passed away, he was king. He reigned after his father passed away from February of the 20th, so about a month after his father passed away, until he died in July. So roughly around 6 years.
Ich bin Anna of Cleves. Yeah. When he saw my portrait, he was like, yeah. But I didn't look as good as I did in my pic. Funny how we all discussed that, but never Henry's little.
Okay, so then obviously there's Anne of Cleves, most well known for being quote unquote ugly. However, I don't believe that that's true. She was born 1515 and died July 16th, 1557. So she was 42 when she passed away. And she was only married to Henry from January the 6th to July the 12th, 1540, which is roughly 6 months. So he didn't just immediately go, yeah, I don't like this woman, send her back. They stayed married for a little, not long, but a little while. So yeah.
Cut your ears, I'm the Catherine who lost her head. Beheaded for my promiscuity outside of wed. Lock up your husbands, lock up your sons. Kay Howard is here and the fun's begun.
Okay, then we have Catherine Howard, the other one that was beheaded. And she was born 1523, and she died February 13th, 1542. So she was only 19 when she passed away. And if we look at the dates here, and I am not good at math at all, like math is not my subject. I'm sure most of you have already figured this out. And I'm just far behind. So, that's not right. So there's 6 years difference between the time that Catherine Howard died to when King Henry died. So, let's see. So he was around 50 when they got together. Actually, he was 49 when they got together. If I'm mathing correctly, that is what we have here. So he's 50 and she is like 16. Probably. No. Yeah. 17. A 50-year-old and a 17-year-old. really is no wonder, and especially since we know that at this point, if not even before that, King Henry had hurt himself and he had a leg wound. So he probably couldn't perform in the way that Catherine wanted, and she is very well known for her promiscuity. She cheated on him at least twice. In later in the later song that is dedicated to her, she had 2 or 3 suitors before King Henry came upon the scene. So
5 down, I'm the final wife. I saw him to the end of his life. I'm the survivor, Catherine Parr. I bet you wanna know how I got this far. I said, I bet you wanna know how we got this far.
And lastly, Catherine Parr, born 1512 and died September 5th, 1548. So she only lasted about a year longer than Henry when he passed away, but she did not pass away before he did. So there is that. She married him in 1543, and obviously stayed with him until he passed away. That is when Edward became king, obviously, when his dad passed away. So yeah, this is them. This is the 6 wives of King Henry VIII, their birth and death dates, and when they were married to King Henry. So obviously you scholars out there that are better at math than I am can figure out exactly how old Henry was when he married each of his wives. Just saying.
Do you wanna know how we got this far? Welcome to the show, to the history mix. Switching up the flow as we add the prefix. Everybody knows that we used to be 6 wives. Get your hands up, get this party buzzing. If you want a queen bee, well there's half a dozen. Everybody knows that we used to be 6 wives.
That song. I hope you enjoyed the little history lesson attached to that. I did the best that I could, knowing what I know. There are probably people out there that know a lot more than I do. So our next song comes from Epic the Musical. And let's get on with it.
Father, God, King, rarely do I ask for favors. Now I'm knocking on your door with hopes to save a friendship with one who's a prisoner far from home. Odysseus.
All right, so the pictures that you are going to see are my interpretation of what I think that these gods and goddesses look like. Obviously, they're not real. We don't have actual descriptions of them, but these are what I think. So Athena here was the god of warfare, battle strategy, technically, and probably some other things, but that's her most well-known, and her symbol is an owl.
Divine intervention, is that what you seek? To untie apprehensions that were placed on that Greek. You are playing with thunder for a man full of shame, but if he's worth the risk of going under, why not make it a game?
All right, so this is my interpretation of Zeus. His eyes are a little bit more pronounced than I really wanted, but it is what it is. Um, and he is the god over the heavens, god of thunder, and mostly known for being a very prolific father of many heroes and demigods. So yeah.
Convince each of them that he ought to be released, and I'll release him.
Who's that?
Apollo! Hephaestus! Aphrodite! Ares! Hera!
I love how he says here, convince each of them, but then he uses or when he's referring to himself, or me, convince all these other ones, or just me. And what does Athena choose to do?
What do you say?
Great.
Very well. All right.
Bring it.
All right, so Apollo, this is my interpretation of him, is known as the god of many things. Travelers, thieves, bandits, the road. I can't even think of all prophecies. I can't even think of all of them. It's crazy. Now, what is absolutely insane is why is he here? Because in the epic musical, Odysseus and his crew, or what's left of them anyway, land on Helios's island, which was the titan of the sun. In a lot of myths, Apollo took over for him and drove the sun chariot. But it also kind of makes sense why he's here too, because if you really think about the similarities between Helios and Apollo, it's really crazy because Helios had the group of cows on that island. Well, Apollo had his own sacred cows. They're both the gods of the sun, technically. So, do I think that they should have gone with Helios being Helios's island being the one that they landed on in the musical or in the actual story itself? No. Especially if you're going to have Apollo come in and talk about why he thinks that Odysseus should or should not be let free. Because it would make more sense for Helios to be there, not Apollo. Now, I know he says it's because, he's the god of the song and whatnot. He's over the muses, which were, the ones that were part of everything, poetry, drama, singing, all that other stuff. So I don't buy him. And he's also one of the most unliked gods.
You all know I'm a fan of catchy songs, so with so many sirens gone, I think God is in the wrong. They were trying to do him worse. All he did was reimburse them. Now they'll tread with caution first to live another day and sing another verse.
If that's true, release him.
Hephaestus!
All right, then we've got Hephaestus. Again, this is my interpretation of him. He's the god of the forge. He was well known for being thrown off of the mountain of Olympus as soon as he was born for being ugly by Hera. He was also the wife or the husband of Aphrodite until they divorced and he found somebody who would truly love him. His argument here makes a lot of sense about why he would be involved. Because although going into sacrificing Odysseus's whole his whole crew, I think that takes it a little bit far. But let's listen.
Trust is not given, is forced. Why should I give him my support? He sacrificed his own cohort.
Okay, so trust makes sense for Hephaestus, considering that Aphrodite cheated on him every chance that she could get. Most of the time with Ares, but that was not her only lover. She had several in the myths. So the trust thing makes sense. Then he gets into sacrificing his whole cohort, and I'm going to tell you why I think that should be a different god.
Did you forget they failed to listen? He was betrayed and then imprisoned. But if you make the right decision, he can still build a future with those who miss him.
Fine, we listen.
Okay, so Aphrodite, I have here pictured about how I think she looks. And again, her argument here doesn't make sense. She is the goddess of love, yes, and is familial love, yes. But I think she should be the one that is given Hera's reasoning, because at least according to most of the myths about Odysseus, he never ever cheated on his wife during the whole 20 years that he was gone. And that would make more sense for Aphrodite to bring up, though it does make sense for Hera to bring it up. But we'll get there when we get to Hera.
You're a little high and mighty. Odysseus claims to love his mother, but let her die of a broken heart.
He was busy fighting.
More like busy spiting. The Cyclops let him feel the pain that his mother felt and wrought.
Wait! Please reconsider that.
Now, I don't think Athena, at least from the myths that I have read about her, would ever beg one of the other gods for anything. So that, please reconsider this. Again, don't think it should be there.
Really, Athena? These are tricks.
Okay, so then we have Ares, and this is my interpretation of him. He is the direct son of Zeus and Athena, actually. Apollo is one of Zeus's children. In some myths, Aphrodite is, and in some myths, she's older than him. Athena is obviously also Zeus's kid, not with Hera. But, that's another thing. So, Ares' argument here makes a lot of sense because he is the god of war, especially the bloody type of war, and for him to want Odysseus to be more forward in war makes sense, but it also makes sense for him to have brought up the whole sacrificing his whole cohort thing instead of Hephaestus. So that's...
What kind of sick coward holds back his power while his friends get devoured? He didn't even fight Scylla, didn't even try to kill her. Hides inside a wooden horse to get the job done. Never handles things up front, but then can wink like his son.
Hold your tongue now. He sounds my friend. And tell your lover that a broken heart commands. You want more bloodshed than set him free to get back to his hometown. He'll make every god bleed.
If I didn't mention this, the whole reason that this is taking place is that Odysseus has been trapped on Calypso's island for years at this point, and Athena kind of lost track of him. Not on purpose or anything. She never actually left him as it is shown in the musical, but she did turn a blind eye a little bit, because especially after he killed Polyphemus, she did not want to get on the bad side of Poseidon, which they have always had in the myths, a very tumultuous relationship. So there is that. So I also think her bringing up, if they let him off the island, off of Calypso's island, if Ares wants blood, then that's the only way he's going to get it, and that is what happens in the story and in the play. So. And lastly, we have Hera, who is the wife of Zeus. So she's the queen of the gods. I think there's other smaller, she's also over childbirth and some other things as well. Her argument here makes sense, but I also think maybe she could have brought up Odysseus letting his mom die. Not like he meant to do that. He was gone for 20 years. I mean, I don't even know how old his mother was when he went to war and everything. But I mean, they did not live long in these days. So it's not crazy that his mother passed away before he could get home and say goodbye to her.
Release him.
And again, that makes sense for Hera because Zeus is very famous, for cheating on her. So it would, again, both Aphrodite and Hera have good reason to bring that up.
I've played your game and won. Release him.
You dare to defy me, to make me constrained. No one beats me. No one wins my game.
And in the musical, right here is where Zeus hits Athena with lightning, and obviously it doesn't kill her because she's a goddess. However, I don't think he would do that because Athena was one of Zeus's favorite children in the myths. So I find it very hard to believe, even if she hurt his feelings by going behind, well, quote unquote, going behind his back to talk to these other gods and goddesses. I don't think he would do that.
Is she dead?
And I think here she's probably just thinking about how much she cares for Odysseus and how much she wants him to be able to go home, which makes sense. It's been 20 years. Let the man go home and see his family, because his son was already had basically grown up while Odysseus was say please to Zeus, considering it's her dad, but still I do find it a little bit difficult to believe that she would say please at all, just based on how I've read her in the Greek myths. Anyway, so that's my video. If you have any comments, please comment below. This is my first video in a very long time, so I hope it does well, and I will maybe see you in the next one that I decide to do, whenever I decide what that's going to be. Bye.